Hi, this is Tara McGillicuddy of empathnow.com. And today in this video, I am going to talk to you about the upcoming energy of 2020 and how it's going to affect us as empaths and how we can navigate through this energy and thrive as an empath in 2020 and beyond. And I know some of you listened to my recent podcast episode where I was talking about the thick, dense energy of 2019 and how a lot of us as empaths, myself included, felt stuck during 2019. A lot of us were looking forward to 2020. We had great ideas, but we just felt stuck. I talked to people about the fact that I felt like I was going through energetic molasses and bumping into energetic brick walls. And part of the reason this was happening is because energetically and in essence, we were being pulled in two different directions when it comes to time and the energy surrounding time. We were being pulled back to early 2000s and the 1900s. And then the other way, we're being pulled into the energy of 2020 and beyond. So what was happening to a lot of us, not all of us, some people had great years in 2020 and really moved forward. But for a lot of us, we were just stuck. It was like we were being pulled in two different directions and we really weren't moving. You know, we'd have times where we'd be productive or get things done. But then we also had times where we'd be pulled back to something from our past, or we'd just feel like we were in a cocoon and stuck. And some of us just wound up in bed sick with the flu or a cold, or just some people felt depressed or felt like we were in a cocoon. So the energy of 2020 is going to be a bit different than 2019. I think I may have said 1919 earlier, but it's going to be different than 2019. But what's happening is, if I've been listening or reading, listening, watching what a lot of people are forecasting for 2020, and they make it sound like you're going to wake up New Year's Day and everything's going to be different, that your life's going to be perfect, that this brand new energy is going to come in and you're going to have motivation, you're going to be energized. And while that might be the case for some of you, for most of us, especially those of us as empaths, that's not what's going to happen. We're going to gradually go into the new energy of 2020 and beyond. And I think for a lot of us, if we just all of a sudden woke up and went into the new energy, probably fall over or push us back. So it's going to be a bit more gradual. We're not quite into the new earth, the ascension, the fifth dimension, whatever it is people are calling this. And we're gradually getting there. So in 2020, you may be still pulled back into that other direction. And I talk about the essence in the energy. It's not necessarily that you're going to be pulled back into doing the same things, but your way of thinking might go back to what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Your way of being might go there, but you're going to feel pulled into the other direction. A lot of it is a choice, though. And if you're cognizant and you're mindful that, yes, I'm ready for this new energy, I'm ready to move forward, to begin moving forward, this is something that's going to be helpful. And you don't have to do this. If your life was great last year, 2 years ago, 15 years ago, and you want to stay that way, that's fine. Nobody's saying you have to go into this new type of energy, this new essence. But for a lot of us, we're choosing to, and I know a lot of us as empaths have been on a healing path, a path of knowledge, opening up to our intuition, our psychic abilities and stuff. Some people are just waking up to it. I know I had somebody contact me and said, I just found your podcast and I'm beginning to feel this energy. I don't know what to do with it. So this is the year to really choose what you want and what your mindset, your energy level, and what you want. And I really didn't think I'd be doing this type of video or this type of recording about an energy forecast or energy for empaths. And over the past week or so, I kept getting this idea. And usually what happens if I don't listen to what I'm being told, something, I don't want to say bad happens, but I'll kind of get hit over the head, or it'll just be like, okay, I have to do it. So I decided after a few days of thinking about it, it's time to do it. I'm going to get on camera because I know some of you have noticed that I've been doing the podcast, it's audio, and then I'll upload it to YouTube. And I'm like, okay, I'll go on video for this. So I'm ready to be on video. And I apologize if I keep playing with my hair. It's like almost like a nervous tick I have. All right, so back to the video. All right, back to the energy. So as I want to say meditating, this was just kind of me thinking about something and the ideas kept popping into my head. I was hearing two songs in relationship to the energy of 2020. And the first one is Imagine by John Lennon, which I think most people are very familiar with this song. But these are the lyrics that that kept playing in my head. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us and the world will be as one. I mean, the whole song, it was coming in, but these were the lyrics. And then the other song that this one kept popping in, like this, it was like I kept having this song play in my head, is World by Five for Fighting. And these are the lyrics that I just kept hearing over and over again. I'm like, I know that song. What is that song? So I finally looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that song. But these are the lyrics right here. What kind of world do you want? Think anything. Let's start at the start. Build a masterpiece. Be careful what you wish for. History starts now. So this was something that these two songs were playing when I was thinking about, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about when it comes to the energy of 2020 and how it's going to affect empaths and what I'm going to talk about. And as I talked about a little bit, it's about choice. And one of the things that kept coming up that it was important for me to talk about in this video or this podcast episode is choosing. I'm not giving world predictions or events that are going to happen. But it's going to be another emotional, bumpy year with things in the news that may or not actually be happening. But it's about choosing. Instead of being angry, being completely frustrated by leaders in the world, by whatever you want to call it, think about what you would like to see happen. What is your perfect world? What is your ideal situation? Instead of arguing with people about a specific leader, and you all know who I'm talking about, I'm not going to say the person's name because it triggers people and does crazy things to people. But instead of being upset or thinking you want something to happen to him or you want something to happen to somebody else, what is your ideal situation? What would you like to see happen? Imagine it, dream it, create it, and also from there, take it one step further. Get it out of your head, create that masterpiece, whether it's writing a short story, journaling, talking about it on a podcast, making a video, painting. Do something to get it out of your head. So, but first imagine it, first create it in your mind, and then take it a step further. If you want to join a group and talk to people about it, that's fine. But we're all connected. You watching this video or you listening to this podcast, we're all connected. So we, believe it or not, I know some of you are still iffy about the whole manifesting and creating a positive future and all that. We do have that ability, especially when a group of us do it. So I know I have hundreds of people who listen to the podcast episode, hopefully, or not hopefully, that's gonna be one of the things I'm gonna imagine I'm gonna create this year and manifest is even more people are gonna listen to it or watch it and be helped by these videos and podcast episodes. But if 100 people listening to this, say something happens in the world, or say there's a news event, or somebody has an obnoxious tweet, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is, if we all imagine, create what it is we want to happen instead, and we all write it or do some type of creative piece or whatever you want to call it, it will make a difference. So this is the year to start building a foundation. And I know some of you may be familiar with numerology. The year 2020, if you add it together, comes to the number 4, which is, so we're in a 4 year this year, which is about building a foundation. It's about truth. It's about structure. So the 2020 is a year for architecture. And I know when we hear architecture, we think buildings, we think, skyscrapers and physical buildings, but it's also can be architecture when it comes to a project or an idea. So this is a year to build that foundation. I know people are going to say, oh, this is a year to do things. Yeah, it might be if you're called to do something, if there's a group you want to join, if there's a project that you're going to implement this year or something you're that's fine, do that. But this is also the year to create a foundation. And going back to those songs with John Lennon, Imagine, and Five for Fighting World, first, imagine what it is, and then start creating your masterpiece. And as I'm saying, talking about it now, and I was thinking about it earlier, I do have a Facebook group, Empath Now Empowerment. So this might be something I add to that group, maybe a creation group or a manifestation or whatever you want to call it, a masterpiece section of it. So this is something that I'm working on too. And I can talk about this and say, okay, I'm not someone who watches things and, oh yeah, it doesn't come easy for me. It's not natural for me to not be upset or angry about some of the things going on in the world or the way people are reacting towards them. It's something that I have to take a few deep breaths and be mindful and practice it. And it becomes easier. It becomes easy to do, more natural to do once we practice it. So that's one thing to really look at. And, what do you want to see in the world? Maybe it's a huge world event, or maybe it's something in your own life. Hey, maybe it's your apartment's a mess and you want to create a beautiful, clutter-free, peaceful apartment. Start with that, whatever it is. But instead of focusing on the problem, which by default, some of us do that by default. That's how our brains are wired. And also the way the world's kind of set up is people make money off of us being angry and frustrated, whether it's medication or whatever else, self-medicating with alcohol, food, and all that, that we have to work hard at this, a lot of us. I mean, some people do it naturally. I'm not one of those people. And maybe I was when I was first born. Actually, no, I wasn't. But this is something to pay attention to. And another thing, one of the words that I'm getting for this year is the word transmute or transmutation. And a lot of the themes of the past years was about healing or learning or growing. And that's not going to stop. But one of the key words this year is transmutation or transmuting. And pretty much that means taking something in one state and changing it to another. So when it comes to this, it's taking the negative and transmuting it into something positive. So I'm not saying don't be angry, don't be frustrated. We can't, ignore our feelings. If we do, we become sick or we lash out later on. Feel the anger, feel the frustration, feel the sadness. But from there, name it, feel it, and then transmute to something else. Going back to what I talked about with the creating your masterpiece. I know it sounds kind of weird and kooky to some people, but try it. If you don't believe me, prove me wrong. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You change your mindset, you change your brain wiring by thinking of something positive and imagine something. All right, and then one of the other themes this year is, I know we've been transitioning to this, but we're moving from looking up to someone as an expert or a guru. We're not, it's shifting from people telling us what to do. We're still going to have leaders, we're still going to have teachers, mentors, and all that, but it's going to be more about empowerment, more about helping you find your own truth, helping empower you, helping you do it on your own instead of reading a book and telling you what to do. So that's one thing to really look at. So maybe this year, if I talked about manifesting and creating. So this might be the year, instead of taking a class on how to manifest by somebody's formula or the 3 ways to manifest or whatever they're trying to sell you. And some of these programs are great. I'm not trying to say they're not. But as an empath, this year might be more of, if you're called to manifest and you want to learn to manifest, you might want to join a manifesting group where people are coming together to co-create, to manifest, to create, to have results, instead of teaching you how to manifest and how to follow their formula. That's not to say if you come across something that sounds great to you, not to do it. But in general, the energy is going to move more towards people partnering with you. Whether it's coaches, teachers, mental health professionals, mentors, whatever it is, hey, here I am, listen to me, that's not going to work anymore. And for the most part, it's just going to be, people are going to want something different. There might be a few people here and there that find out they were full of BS, or they were telling you the wrong thing because somebody told them the wrong thing. There may be some of that, but the majority is just going to be more energetically, people's expectations, what people want, what people need is more of a partnership, co-creation, collaborating, and partnering. So these are some of the key things for this year. And like I said, I'm not giving world predictions or psychic predictions. There are people that do that, and hey, I used to, years ago, every year, I look forward to watching Sylvia Brown on Montel Williams give psychic predictions. For the past several years, on New Year's Day, I watch or listen to Joseph Tittle give his psychic predictions. And one thing to be aware of with those is sometimes if something's said, if we read something, we watch something, and enough people see it and it gets in their energy and their conscious, subconscious, that we can somewhat make it happen. So be very careful of the type of things you listen to and allow in. I know you've probably all heard how the Simpsons cartoon predicted things, and it's like, did it predict it, or did enough people allow it into their energy field that it happened? I mean, that's something iffy. So really be careful this year about what you allow into your life, who and what you allow into your life. And the news, I'm going to say, don't watch the news. You don't need to watch the news. If you're someone that needs to feel informed, listen to the news on the radio or whatever you listen to it now. I don't know if people have AM radios or anything anymore. Listen to the news or read it in print only. If you feel you have to watch it, listen to it, or you feel you need to be informed. But what's going on with a lot of the media, and I don't want to use the words that certain people use because they have negative connotations, whether I kind of agree with it, but I'm not going to use that term. But we don't have the complete truth with most of what's happening in the world. And it can be that we are missing a tiny, minuscule detail, and that changes the whole thing. If you do your taxes or if you're an accountant, you miss like one little number or decimal point, which is a tiny thing that changes the whole amount. So it's something on that idea. But with watching the news on TV, you're being bombarded with all these visuals and energy. And if you do watch the news, clear your energy. Put up a bubble of protection before you turn the TV on or go to that website or allow that video in. In TV, be careful of what you watch on TV. And, I talked about creating that masterpiece. Create a utopia where we have all of these TV shows about what's going to happen with an apocalypse or dystopia. And if we all do the opposite, not all, I mean, some of us listening, watching, even if it's just a hobby, or it doesn't have to be a novel you publish, it doesn't have to be a novel, it can be like a couple sentences or a picture, or you speak into a recording, or you talk to somebody, but it's going to make a difference. So this year, yeah, the energy might be up and down, and astrologically there's going to be, the planets are doing things, so there might be some world events. You might have things happen to you this year because life gets in the way, life happens, but the majority of what's going on worldwide, it doesn't have to affect you the way it has been. As an empath, it's really challenging for us to watch the news, to watch TV, to listen to what people are going through. And, there are going to be, life happens. You may go through your own losses, your own tragedies. People personally might be going through things. So practice your own self-care and limit the negativity you allow into your life with TV, with music, with people. Because, things might happen, and if you're in a better frame of mind, if you're practicing self-care, it's going to be easier for you to deal with those things. So it may be a bumpy year energetically, but go back to what I said about creating your own masterpiece, creating your own reality, and focusing on the way you want things, and healing. We all have the ability to send healing. I know some of us have the belief that we have to take a class or we have to be activated for Reiki or whatever else it is. And I'm not saying those things aren't good. I'm a Reiki master. I took classes. I did that. But we have the ability to send healing without taking a class and becoming a Reiki master or a healer. If those things are calling you, interesting to you, go do them. But say something happens in the world, or something we believe happens in the world, because we don't know whether it's true or not. Picture the person happy and healthy. Send healing light or healing energy to whoever the person is or people are. And that's all you need to do, is kind of send it, put the healing out there, put the intention out there. If you connect with the angels, do that. If you want to get activated or take a class in Reiki or one of those other healing modalities, do that. But we can just put that energy out there, a thought, imagine it, create it. We are more powerful than most of us have been led to believe. So you're probably going to be seeing more of me this year. This is me getting out of my comfort zone, being on video, and I don't know, it's just something that I've not wanted to do in the past couple of years. It's, oh, I'll just be on audio, which was great. Sorry, my cold is starting to act up. So I will be doing more videos on YouTube and Facebook, and I will be posting these to the audio podcast too, because sometimes I just like to listen to things. All right, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch or listen to this Empath Now video about the energy of 2020. And I hope you find this helpful. And if you haven't done so already, sign up for the Empath Now Empowerment Source, which is full of tools and resources. There'll be a link there to join the Facebook group, which I'm coming up with different things to add to it. I am planning to offer some type of paid membership site for empaths this year. Just still working on exactly what it's going to be, but if you talked to me about a week ago, I didn't think I'd be doing a video about the energy forecast of 2020 for empaths. So who knows? Like, I could wake up tomorrow and have a brilliant idea for a membership site. So thanks again for watching, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. And we're going to make 2020 a great year. We're going to make the 2020s a great decade and all that. And remember, we do have this ability. We do have this power. It's just believing and choosing to tap into it. All right. Thanks again. This is Tara McGillicuddy. Have a great 2020.